Hi, my name is Tessa Forbes. I'm an intern with the Urban Pollination Project, and we're going to be starting a new series of educational videos for the website where we're going to be talking to you about native and exotic plants and pollinators with the greenhouse manager at University of Washington, Doug Ewing. Today we're going to be starting with an exotic species that's only going to be blooming for 2 more days, so we hope you enjoy.
Great. So this is an orchid from Madagascar. The genus is Angraecum and the species is sesquipedale. It's often called the Darwin orchid because Darwin was shown some of these flowers, I think probably as preserved specimens. He noted that it has what the botanist would call a spur, this long appendage that's a hollow tube, and there's nectar, concentrated photosynthate, sugars, in the bottom of this spur. He theorized that the pollinator was probably a moth, and that the moth must have a proboscis long enough to be able to thread it through the center of the flower and reach all the way to the base of this spur to be able to get the reward, the nectar. That was a shocking proboscis length, and of course decades after he died they did discover the actual pollinator, and it is a moth, and it does indeed have a proboscis this long. So the moth will hover in flight and uncoil this proboscis and thread it right through the center all the way down, and in doing that has to reach in with his head or her head and push to get the sugar deep inside. In the process of doing that, the moth gets this little package that contains millions of pollen grains stuck on its head. When he or she goes to the next Angraecum sesquipedale in bloom, as the moth is forcing its head into the center of the flower, that bag of pollen gets scraped off by this very sticky scoop that is a part of the flower that is the stigma, the female part of the flower. And so that is how pollination happens in this orchid. It's a very tightly co-evolved relationship between only one species of moth and this orchid. And typically in bloom for us in December and January, a favorite of biologists because of the connection also to Darwin. Okay, so what I'm going to hope to do is show you what the pollinia actually looks like, and for that I'm going to use this flower that is past its prime, because this is destructive to the flower and I don't want to shorten the life of our last remaining bloom. But when the moth jams its head into the center of the flower, what I'm hoping I can show you is maybe that this anther cap will fall off, the pollinia will get glued on. There. There is a pollinia glued onto my thumbnail, right? And then on the next trip to the next flower, into the flower, the stigma is this scoop-shaped structure in the center.